frankly, my perspective on a lot of the policy that's come out, particularly in the area of climate change, hasn't been linked to fundamentals. We've had ideology out there driving a lot of the thinking behind that and leading to a lot of the policy that, frankly, on both sides of the Atlantic have been flawed. And coming back to what is it that's going to ultimately allow society to significantly reduce emissions, address the risk of climate change, and at the same time support economic growth, to recognize that there are 4 billion people in the world that are living in intense energy poverty and striving for a better life, that how do you address those needs? And so coming back and thinking about how is the world going to tackle this significant challenge and do it in a way that doesn't force choices that, frankly, most societies and communities around the world won't be willing to make. You've got to do it affordably. You've got to do it in a way that doesn't impede economic growth and doesn't ask people to lower their standards of living and don't prevent others from rising and having a better standard of living. There are ways to do that. We refer to it as the AND equation. We have, as a company, given our scale, the technology, the capital investment capabilities that we have in our space ways to address that AND equation that's not consistent necessarily with the ideology, but frankly, will make great progress, lower emissions quicker at a larger scale for a lot less cost. And hopefully what we'll see over time is recognizing that these extreme positions being taken ultimately going to have to converge to practical approaches that can actually do both of these things. And starting to hear that dialogue pick up, but I think we've got a ways to go yet.
So in the context of the US-EU trade negotiations, we're seeing European leaders move to simplify legislation, like this awful acronym, the Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive. What's your view on that shift?
Well, maybe I'm just, for the audience's sake, give a little bit of context in terms of ExxonMobil's history here in Europe and what we've done, because we've been in Europe for 135 plus years. We are definitely in the energy business. We make products that go into transportation and combustion that creates emissions, but we are also in the business of making products that go into just about every product that people use in modern society. And so the clothes that you're wearing, the cars that you're driving, whether they're electric or combustion, the medicines that you take, the makeup that you wear, people don't appreciate the role that the hydrogen carbon molecule plays in everyday life and the broad application that it has. We're in that business as well, not often recognized for that. So we've been making these products and providing energy to Europe for, like I said, 135 years. And we used to, prior to COVID and prior to the windfall profit tax, we were investing on average about $2.5 billion every year in the European Union, in investing and growing our businesses and facilities. Since COVID and frankly since the windfall profit tax, we've lost faith. And I think the regulation and the things that the policymakers have been putting in place with good intention, I will maybe make sure, I want to make sure that I make the point that we are not opposed to the ambition or the objectives of the policy. What we find is the approach to achieving those objectives is flawed and resulting in a economy and a business environment that is frankly uncompetitive and doesn't allow us to generate returns on the investments that we make. And so since the windfall profit tax, we're for years in a very capital intensive industry with a commodity cycle. There are periods of time where you lose significant amount of money and you plan on and often recover it when the cycle picks